We are live on this
Live.
wonderful Tuesday. Could be Wednesday. Maybe it's Wednesday for people. I always say this. I need to figure out time zones. So if anyone's joining us the next day, because I know there is people living in the next day already. But this is exciting, Scott, to talk about. We had a lot of people register for this webinar, which is very exciting because our CRM contacts and forms, sometimes they don't get enough love as they deserve. So this is exciting.
They get a lot of love, but it's always fun to give CRM and Forms its very own webinar to share that. Plus, just a little hint, we got some exciting updates coming. So just wait for that.
Oh yeah, there is a lot in there. It's super cool. It's gonna be fun. Will be a really fun one. But before we get started, we always like to mention, where's everyone from? Where? Okay, so I already see Pittsburgh. Looking awake there, Stephanie. Tony, you got it. You know what? I'm on my second cup of coffee. It's exciting.
Well, Amy, you're in Omaha. I'm normally in Omaha, and now I'm in Lincoln today. So
yeah,
go Big Red.
Go Omaha. Oh, Kansas City. Sioux City,
Eileen from
Iowa.
Maine, the Bronx.
GBR. I saw GBR. Let's go. I love that. There's a few people from Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Tanya from Cleveland. Tanya, I will be out in Cleveland for the KHM in ASTA conference here in a few weeks, so maybe I'll see you there.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah. And Randy from just down the road in Kansas City. Welcome, welcome. Jenna from Kansas City. Now, here's one Stephanie, you have to be able to say right. Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Ooh, Ypsilanti, Michigan. Is that how you say it?
I assume.
Did we do it correct? Let us know.
We got a lot of people tuning in today.
Oh, yeah. Connecticut. Oh, man. Well, this is exciting.
Puerto Rico.
Oh, Puerto Rico. So awesome. Well, and I saw, there's a lot of Pacific Coast people. So it is right in the morning. So cheers to you. Hope you have your coffee in hand.
And Stephen West from Australia is tuning in. It is literally tomorrow. So welcome, Stephen. Happy Wednesday to you. So
we are in the future. That is so cool. Love that. And love the dedication, because I know that hour is probably pretty early. Yeah, maybe not. But Carol said the Y is a soft sound. So in that one, though.
Okay, then I totally messed it up.
Yeah, so we were in Canada last week for Travel Marketplace East. So if any of you were there, that was super fun. But I realized something huge, that a lot of the words that I was pronouncing is incorrect. Like Toronto. Scott, did you know you need to say Toronto? You cross out that T at the end. I didn't know that. And Mississauga.
Oh, you don't even, like it's a soft or like a silent T?
Yeah, it's like
Toronto?
A silent T, so it's Toronto.
Interesting. I didn't know it was to that extent. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and then, so many words, learned so many, but amazing, but really cool.
Always good to visit our friends up in Canada.
Oh, yes. But what do you think? We've done our good mornings, our hellos. Everyone's from all over England. I don't have my UK cup. I usually have a UK mug, and I let you down, Mark, because I will make sure I have it for the next webinar. So love England over here. It's a good time.
Big fan. Huge fan.
Big fan. But just want to welcome everybody here today. And thank you, Scott, for joining me. Always great to have you on here.
I thought, I had to come to Lincoln today, to our Lincoln office, and I thought I was going to have the really nice studio that Stephanie used to be in. Well, turns out the conference team took the camera out of it to get video testimonials. So now I'm sitting in a call booth instead of the nice studio. So I apologize that I'm coming in kind of not our top tier.
Right. Yeah. So. Well, same here, because same with me, the travel mishaps. The camera I took last week to Canada, it did not come back with me. Luggage is not here yet. So we're doing just the normal.
I know it's weird. It's weird, but some of you on the webinar today might have heard that the airlines are having a tough time right now. And we're just laughing because we've both experienced this coming from Toronto recently. Of just international arrivals are a little Little tricky.
Yeah. Yep. I was just telling Scott, I'm like, we were talking about it right before this. I was like, okay, we're about to get on with many people who understand the pain and frustration in all of this travel stuff. So we are with you. Great, big allies for you. But we
Yes.
totally get it. But anyway, let's dive in here because we have a lot to cover. There's a lot of good stuff in here. So first of all, what I want to do is say, what are we going to do today? So today, what we're going to do, so here's a quick agenda overview. Is first, we always like to start off with just a quick Travify overview. So, what that means is really just telling you everything Travify does. Because today we're going to focus on our Lite CRM and forms, but we do so much more. So we want to talk about those two, just highlight them just so you know if you're new to Travify, or even if you already have Travify, there's many users who don't realize already what you have access to. So we'll go through all those. And then we're going to do a deep dive into the CRM, show you everything in there, walk through that. And then we're going to hop on over to forms and we're going to talk about how you can build forms, use them, all the great features in there. And then sprinkled within this, and at the end, I'll go through everything too, is you're going to get to see what's new and what's coming. There's so many, there's a handful of things that you're going to see. So when you see me go through things, you'll be like, I don't remember that being there. There's a reason. It's because it's new. So
Brand
many new
spanking new.
things. Yeah. This webinar was extremely timely because so many things just got released recently. So very excited. And you'll get a sneak peek at what is to come as well. So really cool there. And then at the end, of course, we'll have time for a Q&A. So feel free, put in those questions in either the question area in Zoom, or if you want to put it in the chat. The question area is going to be easier for my good friend Scott here to manage because he's going to help wrangle those questions in and send them. So hopefully we can get to them at the end. But if we aren't able to get to all of them, we sincerely apologize. But we also have a team that is on standby, ready to answer those questions. So if you just email us to at professional@travify.com, chat us in your account, all of that good stuff. So definitely let us know if we didn't answer anything. But we will have time at the end to answer some. Okay, first of all, here's what I want to do. I want to do a quick overview of Travify. Now, this is a lot of things. So brace yourselves. So first of all, the main thing that you always probably hear about Travify is itineraries and proposals. I like to say it's our bread and butter. You can build beautifully branded itineraries. You can build these proposals on here. And that is usually the most popular feature in Travify, what most users will come into Travify for. But over the past few years now, we've added so much more. And websites is one of them. So the website builder, I love, love, love. It's really cool. It's the ability where you can create a simple website for yourself and or use it as a landing page builder. So I like to say it's a marketing tool, really. So it is so cool. I definitely recommend checking out more information on all of these, and especially the website builders, just since it's more new, and see how you could use that for your business. But it's really cool. And then, of course, I put forms in simple CRM at the end because this is going to pivot us in to the whole reason why we're here today.
And transition.
Forms and simple CRM. So we like to say simple Lite CRM. We'll explain why. But it's basically a way to save your client contact information. Of course, there's a lot you can do in there, which you will see here today. And then that also works in conjunction with forms. So if you need to create a form for anything, literally anything, and again, you'll see that here today, you can do that using Travify. And the best part is all of this is part of your Travify account. So that means it's part of your subscription. So if you already are a Travify user, you have all this. Or if you want to do a trial after this, you will have access to all of this. There's nothing that you pay extra for, which is just so cool. There's a lot in there. That's why we like to say it's an all-in-one tool, as you can see. But today we will focus, of course, on the simple CRM and forms side. So here is that transition. I am going to go into my account now. And before I go any further, we want to talk about why did Travify create this? And for that, Scott, I'm going to hand over to you because you explain this very beautifully and well.
Okay. Prepare yourselves for a beautiful explanation.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
But no, when we talk about the CRM and forums, I always like to take a step back and explain the why. Why in the world did Travify create a CRM system, and why did we create it the way that we did? And to give you a quick snapshot, looking back years in years past, myself, Stephanie, many from the team, we've had conversations with literally thousands and thousands and thousands of travel advisors over the years. And one of the clear and consistent themes that we always hear from travel advisors is that the problem in their daily workflow is not that everything connects together and works together and integrates together beautifully. It's that nothing integrates together at all. And it's so frustrating. Sometimes I've been really impressed with advisors that link together these different, very, very complex, elaborate systems of having all of these different softwares and services that don't work with each other, don't talk to each other, but they still somehow get things to flow with each other. But it adds a lot of complexity to their daily workflow. And so what we found is that there's a clear need within the industry for a really simplified CRM system to manage client information that works with your daily workflow. As you're building quotes, as you're building itineraries, as you're working with clients, that naturally works in with that. So we set out to build a CRM system. Now, in that process, part of what we did is look at the landscape. Lots of really great, really robust CRM tools out there. The market does not need yet another one of those really robust or complex CRM systems or back office systems. What we found is that there are lots of travel advisors, and many of you may be able to relate to this, that wanted a more simplified, lightweight CRM system. A good way that I always put it is that a lot of advisors were not wanting 100 features that they never use. They want 5 features they use every single day. Just the simple, straightforward CRM system without all the complexities. That's what we chose to do because we found that there are a lot of advisors out there that that's what they wanted. And so as Stephanie goes through the webinar today, you may be left with a question or a thought of like, hey, it doesn't have X, Y, Z, and all of these other features that normally CRMs have. Somewhat on purpose. We wanted to start simple, listen to feedback, and then layer in the pieces, the functions, the features that are needed by customers, as opposed to just layering in everything in the kitchen sink right off the bat, where it actually makes it really hard to get to know and get up to speed with that CRM system. So we've purposefully tried to keep it simple, but having said that, what you'll see is we'll be adding in new enhancements and new updates based on your feedback within the system that we hear from our customers. So with that being said, just wanted to give you a quick background so that you have a better lens to look at the CRM through of how it should function, how you can get up to speed with it, how you can start using it with your clients.
Beautifully well said. Look at that. See? That's why I had to hand it over. Because as you can see, and I even saw Gerald ask, why do you call it simple CRM? Because it is. It's very simple, and you will see that. And and the great thing is it doesn't require a ton of training before to use this. So I'll show you how I get in here, but this is what it looks like. It's really simple. And so what's great is today I'll walk you through and literally show you everything that you need to know, which is so amazing. But when you do get into your account, so if this is anyone's first time seeing Travify, this is what it looks like when you do hop into your account. But how you get to this area that we're talking about is by clicking contacts at the top. So that's what we call it, is contacts, because that's really what it is. It's client contacts in there. So if you just click contacts at the top navigation bar up at the top there, it'll bring you into all of your contacts. So if you are brand new, you might not see anything in here and it'll say like, hey, add your first one. If you have been using Travify and you haven't looked at contacts yet, you might have some already in there. And that's basically just going to be people that you've sent itineraries or proposals to. So we automatically will add a contact when you send a trip to someone. So you'll see how that's working in just a little bit, but just a heads up. So if you do see some in there, that's where that's coming from. But to get started, if you have a list of contacts already, you can always import them really easily. Just click where right under the left hand side here, it says new contact, click import contacts. And you could literally just click that and then go ahead and upload a file. It could be like CSV, Excel in here. Now, I recommend you can just go ahead and put them in there. But here's one thing that's really important to note, and also a little pro tip here is you can download right at the top where it says download this template file. Highly recommend downloading that because it's going to be set up already in the way that we need it to read. So if you just go ahead and download that first and then go ahead and plug in all your contact information, just copy and paste it in there, that will really help because it does need to be in this format where it says last name, first name, email, so on. So that is how you want to make sure. So that's really important to note that when you are uploading that, you want it to be correct. So you'll want to upload it that way. Another thing too is that if you do have, you can see this little note down here. If you have multiple phone numbers or emails, you can always add those in here as well, just with a semicolon. So you can, it's really intuitive, which is great. So you can add all of that. But another tip that I'm going to give you, and this again will make more sense as I start showing you more features in here. But I would recommend you do have the ability to add your own custom fields. And again, you'll see what that means here shortly. But if you download this template file, the custom fields that you create will be in there automatically. So I'll come back to this and explain that more. But just showing you, it's very intuitive and really easy to upload all those. So I will come back in there here in just a little bit. But then you could also just add a contact as you go. So I'm going to do that just to show you and walk through all the features in here of what type of information you can save. And all you do is just click this new contact button in the top right hand corner. And it's just going to open up a brand new contact profile. I like to call them contact profiles in here. And then this is where you can start to save all the information for this one contact. Now, each person is going to have their own contact. So a lot of times people will ask, like, what if there's a family? Well, there's different ways you can put them together, group them together, and organize them. But do recommend each person have their own contact because you do want an email for each person so you can easily send forms or trips to them from that contact. But I'm just going to walk through here and add this information with you. So first, the most simple thing we want to do is add that name. So right where it says no contact name, you can edit that by clicking that pencil icon. So that pencil icon's far over there. My screen's kind of big right now, so it's really far over there, so it might not be as far for you. But what you'll want to do is just type in the name. I'm just going to make up a client here, Pam Jones. So then what I'm going to do, just go ahead and click that little check mark. And now this person has a name. So again, going to be really easy to search for them. And obviously you'll know this information belongs to them. Now, another thing you could do is you can also choose to add in a description. Now, you don't have to add this if you don't want, but this is a really great space, this little description area. If there's anything important that you need to include, like in this example, I'm going to say this is the main contact for family vacation planning, or if you want to put, these are their interests, or really any type of description that you need to quickly put in there, you can add that in that little description field there. And then, of course, we can add the basic details. So if we just click this add button, you'll be able to add their email, phone, and street address. So these are the only three things you'll be able to add in the details. And if there's other things you need to add, that's where it'll be below it. So I'll show you that. But before that, though, I'm just going to add an email address in here. So I'm just going to type in just a pretend email here. And I'm just going to click save. Same thing with a phone number. So let's go ahead and add a phone number here. So I'm just going to type that in, click save. And then I'm also going to add a street address. Now, this is really cool because when you start adding a street address, we're actually using Google Maps to try to find it. So this is going to help ensure that you do choose the right address because you'll be able to see from the drop down here, like, okay, I want the one in Lincoln, which is exactly where Scott is at right now. So we're going to click, I just gave away his location, but that is the address right in there. And then here's the cool thing. If you need to add additional emails, you can, or if you need to add additional street phone, you can do that. But the one thing that I do like to mention is when you add those different emails, we are going to choose the first email that you've added, the one at the top here. And that's the one that we're going to use when you want to send them a form or send a trip to them or a proposal. So really important to mention that. So you can have multiple emails in there, but there is going to be a default address that we will choose in the system to send to. So you'll just want to make sure that the one that's the default address is the one you're sending it to. So really great there. So really easy, again, simple. Now, the next thing that you can do is, these are the main details you want. And also, I should note, you don't have to put all this in. So if you don't have an address, that's okay. You can leave that blank. But many times there's also a lot of other information that you personally like to save. So that's where the custom fields comes in, where you can just go ahead and completely manually customize all of your custom fields. And you can do this by clicking the add button. And then these are ones I've already added. So if you haven't added any yet, it's going to be blank. But all you'll do to start adding those different fields is click manage custom fields here. And in here is where you'll be able to add them. So if you need to delete any, edit some that you already have, or add a new field, you can do that. And then you have two options when you're adding a field is you can choose, is it going to be short text or is it going to be a date? So if you need like anniversary date, birth date, anything like that, or, anything like frequent flyer numbers or TSA pre-numbers, anything like that, you can put that in here. So that's what's really great about that. And I'm just going to go ahead and delete that one out that I added and just say done editing. So I can fill out these. I can go ahead and choose. And here's what it looks like when you're doing a date field. You can just select, what is the day. And then with the years, you can go back really far. So that way, if you do need to get some like anniversary or birth date, or if you need to go into the future, you can do that too. So if there's, a date that they're thinking about, then you have that, or like a wedding date, then you can put that into the future as well. So you can do all of that fun stuff. I can also add, I'm going to do the dietary restriction. And you can see it's just a blank field here. So I can put literally anything I want in there. So I'm just going to type in vegetarian and I can keep it just as that. So really straightforward again. Now you'll see here though, I told you I'd come back to this. With the custom fields, since I added these custom fields, if you wanted to import contacts, what I would suggest is add your custom fields first. So go in and just create, maybe just create one contact by hand first and add your custom fields or just create your own contact. And then when you import those contacts and you click the download the template file, that's going to include all of the custom fields that you've included. How cool is that? My mind was blown when I realized that you could do that because I was like, that is so smart, Travify development team. Thank you for doing that. So really, really helps out. So again, that's a bonus tip right there is go and add your custom fields first and then go in and start, uploading all of the people in there. Now, another thing you can do is I mentioned earlier that, you do want to have a profile for each contact, but if they are like part of the same group or a family, you can easily create a label and that way it keeps them organized for you to view. So for example, if I want to put, I'm just going to put Pam Jones family, because again, she's the main person that I'm working with. So I'm just going to go ahead and say Pam Jones family, and I can create that in here. And now when I have more people, I can always click in here and see all who are listed. So it's again, really good for dealing with groups like destination weddings or family travel. Or if you want to do it like, these are your Disney clients, these are your all-inclusive clients, whatever it might be, you can add those labels just to help with the organization of all of your contacts in here. Now, another thing I want to show you is that's just adding, basic information in there. But you can also do much more. Like you can see this notes field. This is really cool. So you'll find this on a lot of different, if really complex CRMs where you can always add notes. And we wanted to make that available because there's times where you just need to add things. Like number one thing that I always think about is if you talk to them on the phone and you just need to catalog, things you talked about or something. Like I'm just going to put, spoke on the phone, interested in a river cruise holiday, whatever you want to put, things that you want to get in there so you don't forget, or any additional. So you have the description, which could be one area to keep information that will never change. And then you have your notes area where you can just continuously add things. And this is also really great because if you're working with a team, they'll be able to add their notes in there too. So then it's really helpful if you're, working together with someone. So you can have that in there. So notes field is really, really awesome. The other great thing is since this is all built into Travify, things are going to work together. For example, your trips. If you ever send trips to this Pam Jones, if you send an itinerary or a proposal, you'll always have that in here. So you can always see what you've shared with them. So you can see here, I'll go to this person here. You can see that there's this Smith family vacation, and you can click into that and it'll take you into the trip. So it's really great too if you need to go in there, make some edits or something to find that really fast. So that's really nice. You'll also see the forms, which we will get into here in just a few minutes. But the forms right here is amazing too, because of course you'll be able to see what forms have you shared with this person and what is their response to those forms in there too. So you'll get all of that, which is nice. So again, it keeps it all organized in this profile. Another thing that is really amazing, especially now, this has always been very helpful, but you can also keep documents in here. Now, this is going to be great because if you want to keep like insurance information, vaccine card, a photo of it, things like that, this is a good area for that. You can save different files, JPEG files, PDF. So if it's a photo, if it's a PDF, if it's, an Excel spreadsheet, a document, whatever it is, you can save that in here. Now, one thing that I will say about this, though, is a document, you do have to turn on two-factor authentication to use this. Now, I'm going to talk about two-factor authentication even further when we talk about the credit card authorization within the forms. But two-factor authentication is basically just another step, another protective layer on your password. And you can set it up really easily if you just go into your account settings. And then if you go into where it says security, just go ahead and put your two-factor authentication on here. It's really simple. You just put in your phone number and then they'll text you. We text you a code, to put in. But we did make that happen on the documents because you could have really important documents in there that we want to make sure they're secured. So that is why if you go into your account and you don't see that option, it's because your two-factor authentication hasn't been turned on yet. But you can turn it on and start using it. So really, really easily. So I'm also going to I'm going to upload a file in here just to show you an example of what this looks like. So I'm going to put this sample voucher. So I just pulled that from my computer. You probably couldn't see that part of the screen, but I just went ahead. You can also drag and drop it in, which is very helpful, but you can see here's what it looks like. So you can start to layer in all of your different files. And then when you need something, just click download, or you can delete it if you need to clean it up. But that's all you do. So again, really great because if your client loses something or you need to go find something really quickly, you can do that really fast in there. So that is a really big overview of, going through everything. And as you can see, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Here's an example here that I have this Mike Smith here, and this is completely filled out so you can see what it would look like with all the trips. The forms, see, I can view the responses for these forms as well. You can see all of that in there, all the documents, all that good stuff. But isn't this just incredible? I love it. Scott, is there anything I missed just going through the forms? Or I'm sorry, not forms, the CRM side?
Nope, you nailed it. As I chat with advisors, a lot of the really common and popular things that are really helpful that previously have been really challenging in other systems. Really simple, the trip history. They can very easily and quickly go back and view previous quotes and itineraries. If a client calls you and asks for a quote or a proposal on a specific trip, now you can literally pull that up in a one or two clicks to see what did they previously do, what were the room categories, the price points, things like that, that from a sales perspective, you need to be aware of so that you can always be recommending the things that are relevant to them and upselling them when it makes sense as much as possible. The other area that's become really popular with a lot of advisors before we get to forms is the document storage. That is secure tokenized document storage. So now if you have scanned passports, vaccination cards, supplier invoices, or things like that that you need to store on a client profile, super easy to do that. Really, really quick and easy. You have everything in one place and it's stored in the cloud. It's backed up. I want to give you a quick story of why this is valuable. I was chatting with an agent. It was a few months ago now, but she, unfortunately, terrible story. Her family had a house fire. Everyone was okay, but they lost pretty much everything in their house fire. At the time, she was just starting to get ramped up on using Travify. Once the house fire happened, obviously, completely understandably, everything else went on hold for months. She had canceled her account and everything. She ended up on a training session with me about 9 months later, and we're going through, and I was helping her with her account. She signs into her account. She's like, "All of my stuff's still here. This is incredible." She thought she had lost it all. And so, a lot of agents are used to you working solely on your local laptop or computer. Now everything's securely stored in the cloud and backed up for you that way. So that is a huge, huge asset. Now, I don't want to take Stephanie's thunder away, but the forms is also a really cool feature, really cool functionality to be able to historically go back and pull all of that information up on a client profile, because most agents currently have to use a separate forms service that then all of that information, all that data is stored in a separate service that you don't look at every day. And it's kind of cumbersome to get it flowing back and forth. So I'll let you get this back on the rails, back on track. But just wanted to note those are a few really highly valuable, beneficial parts of the system that agents see.
Yes. No, it's a very good transition though, because it is. And so you'll see here how forms works together with contacts. And again, you're seeing this all organized in one place, which is so cool. And to send forms. So, okay. So you can access forms a couple ways. So since I'm on contacts, I'll show you this way. So what you can do is any contact that you're in, any contact profile like this one I'm on right now, you can click send form, and then you'll see the forms that you've currently created that are available to just share with anybody. So you can see them listed in there. So it makes it easy. Or you can click the new form if you want to begin creating a new one from scratch. But actually, where your forms are really living is in your library. So, again, up on this navigation bar at the top is your library. Now, for those of you who are familiar, you know totally what the library is. But if you're new to Travify, the library is a place where you can save information to add to your itineraries and proposals. But it's also where your forms are living. So when you come into the library, you'll be able to see your forms, and it'll look like this little logo right here, that little clipboard. And you can always, if you want to just see your forms, you can say filter by category and then choose form. So that way you see all of your forms in here. So if you ever need to, like my library, I have a lot of stuff in there. So you can just quickly find them that way. But when you want to create a new form, you just click new library item and click form. So it's really easy to do. But now, one thing that I always like to mention is with forms, you can use this for anything. It is really cool to hear all the different ways that users have been using forms. So, one of the most popular ones is, a new traveler inquiry form. So, if you're just getting, you need a lot of information, passport number, the name, email, phone, whatever it might be, all that kind of stuff. A lot of times, too, people will use them for lead generation forms, or they'll put it on their website and say, like, what are you interested in? What dates are you planning to travel? All that good stuff. You can also use it for waivers. So I'll get into that, but we do have an e-signature built into here. So if you need to use it for a waiver, which again, in this time we're living in, is really important to say, hey, I've read terms and conditions, sign your name on here to confirm that you have, and then you have that. And then the other thing is for credit card authorization, which I'll also walk you through. So it is really, really amazing that all of this is available. But to walk you through, I'm going to just create a really simple form with you just so you see how it works. But for this one, I'm going to do a traveler information form. So I'm not really going to get any type of security type questions. So it's going to be really simple. I'm just going to give it a title of traveler information form. And then, of course, once again, if you need to organize things, you can create labels. So you can add labels to your form. So if you want to put, different types of things, especially working with, again, those groups or something, and you want to just keep things organized, you can do that. Or if it's different types of travel you plan, you can put a label into that. And then when you're ready to create a new one, you can always create a new one like I'm going to do. But here are two things that are going to blow your minds. Is one, you can create from a template. So we do have 3 templates already in here. So we have a credit card authorization form. It's really basic. You can go ahead and choose that, and it'll just ask questions and then have the credit card authorization option and insurance waivers. So if you want to put in your information in there, and then they can do an e-signature, and then a new trip inquiry. So that's going to be like your simple questions that you just need when you're before you start planning a trip for somebody. So you can create from that template. Actually, I'm not going to show this quite yet, but we do have the ability to share forms with other people. And I'm actually going to save that for the end because it'll make more sense then. But all to say, very many ways that you can get forms. So if you are like, where do I begin? We have ways for you to start, which is just really amazing. But in this case, I'm going to start a brand new one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the add new. So this is what you click when you want to add a new question, or I need a sound effect of ding, ding, ding. Here's a new feature. This is a new feature, everybody. This is so exciting. A highly requested option is adding text, or so just text only. So you're not asking a question, you're just adding text, or you want to add an image. So many times people want that. How exciting.
Yeah, really, it's a really cool feature for super basic things. Let me give you a couple
Mhm.
examples. When you set up your form in Travify and you want to, on the very first screen or first introductory part of the form, present your logo or beautiful image or graphic or something like that, and also have an introductory paragraph for that form in there. That this is a perfect tool to be able to do that. So then you can kind of set the stage for what information you need, brand your form, etc. So really, really helpful to just further and further make the forms very professional that you send clients.
Oh yeah. And so I'll show you an example of that here. So I have I'm just going to drag in well, so first of all, you can click here. If you just click in, you'll see our photos. So if you do want to add like a pretty photo, I've seen people do that and it's really cool, especially when you're planning for a certain destination or something, you want to drop photos. But you can always upload your own. So I am bringing in the most probably boring logo, but it just says logo. So it's to give you an idea.
Here
This is where
is
your logo
logo.
goes. Yeah, it's logo. So that's where your logo will go. Oh, I already see like a head explosion. I know, it's so cool. And then I'm gonna add some information, or I'm just gonna add a little sentence here. So you can add anything you need. I just put a couple sentences, but you could put links in here. All those formatting options that we have in other places within Travify, you can find on here. So if you need to add like a table, bold text, highlight text, anything you need, you can do that in there as well. And so that's it. That is just what you can do now. So super awesome that you do have the ability, and you can add as many of those. So I just added one at the top of this form, but you could add them in the middle, at the end, whatever you need. So you have the complete flexibility to add whatever you need in there now. Now, when I'm adding questions, it's again really easy because all you do is click add new, and I'm adding a question now. So I'm going to choose that. Again, really simple. I'm going to ask for, the first question is, what is your full name? Now, if you need to add any additional information to this, which some questions you will, because you'll need to maybe specify like what you're asking. And then you always do have that option for a text field below the question. So you can use, again, all those formatting options are available, and you can use that space if you need. Now, the other thing that you'll want to do is choose what kind of response are you looking for. In this case, it is a short answer. So I'm just going to click short answer. And then I am going to require this. So you can choose if this question is going to be required or not, which is great because, again, it won't allow them to go further unless they answer these required questions. So I'm going to leave it just like this and just click that little check mark, say I'm done. Now I'm going to add another one. Now let's say that I just asked, what is the name on that is shown on your passport if you have one? Well, maybe though, some people might want to be called something else. So I want to go ahead and say, what is the name if you'd like to be called, a different name. Like for example, I like to go by Steezy, so I would put that in there. Put your nickname in there. And then, but I'm not going to require that because not everyone needs to answer that. So I'll just choose that. And then I'm going to click add new again. I'm going to choose this time, what is your email address? Now, this gets really cool because what I'm going to do, I'm keeping it at short answer, and this is required. But check this out. You can choose the format. So, this is another helpful way to make sure you're going to get the information you need from this person and say that the format needs to be an email. So, if someone just types in gmail.com, we're going to flag that and be like, that's not correct. That's not an email. So we need to make sure that that is in that format. So again, just kind of helping to make sure that you're getting the correct information. And then the other thing I can do is I'm just going to add what is your phone number? And I am going to say the format needs to be a phone. So once again, we will flag it if it's not looking like if they put ABCD, we'll be like, that's not what we need. So that's really nice knowing that you'll have those options in there. So that's really it. That's all I'm going to put for this, just to show you an example. And this is what it looks like. So really easy. You can drag and drop things around. So if you need to move questions around, you can certainly do that, whatever you need. Now, if you just want to go ahead and preview this, what you want to do is click preview. And you can actually see this. I love this part. This is another ding, 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 new thing. Not the preview part, but this part. Now, a lot of people are asking. So, how previously the form was? So, this is the mobile version. So, it's going to look pretty similar where they have to go. It'll take up one question. Will take up a screen, so that way they can just click continue, continue, and then they'll be able to see everything. And then once they have it submitted correct, they can submit the form. But now, what it'll look like is everything will be on one page. So that is what's really cool. So you'll be able to see exactly what this would look like in there and play with it, see, know what it's going to look like. And that's what's really nice about that. So you can see everything. Now, when you want to actually share this with somebody, you can click the share button and then you can just go ahead and get a link. So you could get a link here. Now, this link is only available if you are not asking for credit card authorization or e-signature. So I'll mention that again when I get to the credit card authorization, but important to notice that, this is going to be a link just for information that's not like super sensitive. So you can get a link there. So if you want to drop it in a Facebook, on your website, whatever, wherever you want to go, you can. But you can also email it directly through Travify as well. You could do it that way too. Now, when you do get a form back, what's going to happen is, or someone fills out a form, you'll get an email notification letting you know that they have filled it out, and then you'll be able to go into your account and see it. But you also can just view it from the responses. So if I go into this response form right here, you can click responses, and you can see all of them in here, and then you can choose to, delete, or you can assign it to a contact or assign it to a new contact or an existing contact. Now, I'm going to take a step back here because that is really cool. Because once again, remember how these are working together with our contacts, with our CRM. So, what this is doing is you're able to send this over to somebody. If you've sent it directly to an email that's already in your account, it'll automatically put that form with your contact profile. So, I do want to make sure that that's understood, that it'll go intuitively into the right spot. But this one right here, this was a lead generation form. So, I don't have this person's email and address. So I can always assign it to a new contact. Now, one thing to note, and I saw someone ask this, is the smart field questions. Now, when I asked for the question of what is your name on the last one, I just said, give me a short answer, and it's required. But under here, you'll see the option for smart fields. Now, what this means is this is going to either overwrite or communicate with contacts right away. So with our contacts, we'll know that if this is a smart field and you ask for a name, that is what's going to be displayed on the name part of, a contact profile. Same thing with all of these. So it'll go directly in there. So that's really important to mention, because if you are creating a form that's going to be collecting new information for new people, you might want to consider doing the smart fields option. That way you can easily just go ahead and see how it says assign new contact. And I have that person's information and I can go ahead and create and assign. And now that's in there. And now I can find Shelly directly in here. How simple is that? It's so amazing. Really cool. How easy. And then I can come in, add things, anything else that I need in there. So really, really cool there. But now the next thing that I want to talk about is using the credit card authorization or e-signature, because that is going to be very similar to how I set this up. But the difference is going to be a couple of things, and it's mostly security things in there. Is first of all, to add credit card authorization, all you do is create a form just like I've done here, and then you click add new, choose question. So just again, how we did. And you want to choose the card authorization option. Now, if you do not see this option in your account, that means you have not put two-factor authentication on yet. So once again, you do have to turn that on. The credit card authorization tool is completely PCI compliant, safe and secure, and that is why we need two-factor authentication to be on. Now, it's really easy, again, to turn on and to use. So just make sure you turn that on. And then once you do, you'll be able to use that option. You can just say, your question like, what is your payment info? I'll just say that there. Require it. Now, you can choose to collect a CVV. So you don't have to collect that. If you don't want to collect that, you don't have to. So I'm going to go ahead and choose yes. So, really important to note that to make sure you check the right one that you need. And then what's going to be different is we will require an electronic signature in here. So if you want to go ahead and type in any terms and conditions, copy and paste those in, do that in that space right there. And then that way, when they sign it, that's what they're signing for. So really cool. Now, the other thing about the electronic signature is what a lot of people have been doing is using this. They'll create a form that's basically a waiver saying, if they say, I don't want trip insurance, then you can create a form that says, I have accepted that I'm choosing not to accept, insurance. And then they have to sign there, to have that thing that's, document that is actually signed. Really, really helpful there. So that is how that will work. So really easy, pretty easy to do there. But the difference is though now is when you share this, you do have to email it. So as I mentioned before, there's no longer a way that you can get a link because this is secure information. So you do want to send it directly to them. The next thing that you'll want to make sure to do is put an authorization description. So you will be required to do this. So, like in this example, it says trip to Hawaii. This is for the $800 flight and $1,000 hotel in there. So you can put all that information in there that you need. And then also, really important, put that authorization amount. So you're authorizing that they're signing for this. So they are authorizing that this is what this is going for and how much. Another thing to pay attention to when you're filling these out is the authorization deadline. So there is a deadline that you will have to put. And again, this is really to protect you to keep it safe and secure that once this deadline passes, you'll no longer be able to have access to their card. So it's really good for you because then it's not, you have the it's really good knowing that you're not just going to have this very private, sensitive information just always available to you. So, and the client will see that as well, that you only have access to it till this point. So that's all you'll do. And then once they get that form, they'll receive it in an email and they'll be able to open and fill it out. And then once they fill it out, you'll again, in return, receive an email letting you know. You also, though, I have an example here that I did before this where you'll also get the entire form filled out as a PDF and you'll get the card. So it'll tell you, here's the card they entered, but just the last four digits. And then here's the electronic signature. The best part is too is your client's also getting this as well. So you have it and your client has it. So they'll get it emailed, which is really helpful. So they will have that knowing, and it tells you when it was sent, when they signed it, what time, the exact time on it. So really, I'm sure many of you are like, yes, like very great. Now, when you want to go get that information, all you're going to do is you're going to go into their contact profile. So you're going to do this like you would with any other form. You go into contacts. And then for this one, this Mike Smith, he's filled this out already. So now what I can do is go under forms. And this was the one that he filled out. So again, if you need to access that PDF that I just showed you, you can access that from Travify too. You don't have to like save that email. And then you just click view responses. And then downwards to credit card authorization, click view details and then that card information. Oh, and actually check this out. Travify knew that I hadn't been logged in for a little bit. So there's your safety and security right there. And this is a fake number, so no one get excited. Don't go shopping with this. It won't work. But you can see in here that this is how you pull it up. So you'll get all this information. And then when you're done, you could be like, I don't want this anymore. I'm going to delete it. You could delete it. So then that way it is done and you no longer have access to it. And you'll just have to have them fill that form out again.
And two quick notes on the credit card authorization, and a few of these questions had been coming in from the Q&A, which is coming in with lots of really great questions. And I apologize, I'm having trouble keeping up because we're getting so many. So I'm doing my best, and we'll get to as many of them as possible. On the credit card authorization, a few questions came in on how is that stored? How long is it stored? Do I need to go in and delete it out? So quick background on that. Stephanie touched on a few of these areas. The credit card authorization is PCI compliant. So it's in a fully separate, vaulted, tokenized storage that's PCI compliant, just like you would expect from any other type of banking service or something like that that's storing sensitive financial data. So that's stored. Now, the credit card information, the credit card number and expiration date are stored for up to 2 years. For PCI compliance reasons, the card security code is only stored for up to 30 days. That's designed to be stored for a specific transaction. So we want to make sure that you have a little bit of time of a window to be able to use that effectively for supplier invoices, service fees, things like that. But the card security code does expire after 30 days in there. Now, you can also set a custom expiration date if you wish to within there, but if that card security code expires, you'll just send a new credit card authorization with that. But just to touch on, this is what Stephanie went through, the specificity that you are putting into those credit card authorization forms is enormously important to make your clients feel secure, but also to safeguard you. The specificity of being able to display a credit card authorization with the client's e-signature showing what items this card authorization covers, the dates of which the authorized purchases need to be completed by, and their signature is very good documentation to have to protect you if you ever have anything come up in question. So just wanted to highlight how that is stored within Travify. The other question is off topic, but many people are seeing in your screen this cool little task feature that they don't see in their account. So everyone just put a pin in that. Stephanie's got some really exciting sneak peek, a very exciting sneak peek coming later in the webinar for some brand new functionality that's coming. So just hold on to that. We'll share more in just a few minutes.
That is so funny. I know I literally thought about that. I'm like, oh, I'm just glazing over this and it's huge. But yes, so really cool. I'm going to get into that too in just a minute because I know we're already running out of time here. But okay, get ready. Minds are going to be blown just multiple times from here on out because one, I mentioned at the beginning of forms that if you don't know where to start, or a lot of times we got questions like, do you have any templates available? So you saw that we did. We have those. If you create a new form, you can always choose from one of our templates. You can do it that way. But here's something else. If you have any friends or colleagues who currently use Travify and they have an amazing form built out, they can share it with you and you can save it to your account so that you can use that form with your clients. It is awesome. So here's how you would do that. All you would do is, well, your friend or colleague who needs to share the form would just click on share at the top. And then you would just say share library template. And then you can go ahead and get this link. And then what it would do is when they give you this link, it will just open a page here. So this is actually a bad one because that doesn't have any information in it. So let me click this one. So if I do that, now I click this link, let me open a new tab here. Sorry, apologies. I'm just going to keep going. So I know we're running out of time here, but it's this link. And then all you do is it'll open and it'll show you the whole form that you need, that you want to download. And then you can click copy to your account. And that way it'll copy directly into your library so you can start using it. So there's one. Now, another thing, and I keep sharing this on like every webinar because Scott made this really, really cool website made with the Travify website builder.
Plug.
Yeah, quick plug. But in here, you will find there's many other libraries sharing things in here. But there is a spot that's just forms. So you can see our forms gallery. And these are from actual Travify users who've built forms. So check these out. So I put the URL link in the chat so you can use these, they've shared them with us. So these are great ways just to get started. Or if you want to see, what are other people doing? You can use those in there to get started. So really, really amazing. I love that option there. Now, the last thing I want to show before we hopefully have time for a couple questions is all the new stuff. Oh my gosh. So there's so much new stuff. Okay. So the first one, since it got brought up, was tasks. Oh my gosh. So with Simple CRM, again, Scott mentioned this at the very beginning that you're going to see us add new functionality around this area a lot. And one of the new things is the ability to create a task. If you have a reminder, like Pam Jones, for example, I just talked to her on the phone yesterday, wants to book a river cruise. So I need to send her a proposal. So what I can do is click a task here and I can go ahead and say, send proposals. And then let's say I told her that I would get it to her by, this Thursday. So I'll go ahead and choose that. If you are on a team, you'll be able to choose who's the owner for that. So you can choose that. And then this is obviously assigned to Pam Jones. But of course, I can also add a note because there's probably a lot more. So I can say, here are the 2 cruises we talked about. I can put those in there. And then that's it. And then what will happen here is you'll see this task in here. Then you can also have just vague tasks, which I'll get into. But all you have to do is add those in there and then just click that little checkbox. Once you've done it, task completed, voila. So that is really cool. And then you can always click, go back and see what are those tasks in there. So that is really amazing. Next level, game changing. But you also will have an option at the very top of your navigation bar here. So this is just completely in your account as a whole, and you'll be able to add new tasks in here. So if there's things you need to do, like check in, or Pam Jones is leaving tomorrow, check in to make sure they have everything they need. They've downloaded the app, all that good stuff. You can do all of that in there, and you can always duplicate things too. So if you want to build yourself a task and you have multiple people leaving or something, you could do that.
And on tasks, just because a few more people chimed in here, it's not live yet. So if you're in our if you're in our Trailblazer beta group, so if you're not familiar with that term, Trailblazers is the group that we release new features and functionality to test it, get feedback. Sometimes we don't even end up releasing whatever we release to that Trailblazer group because our dev team's exploring and testing out new things. And so the task management is currently with our Trailblazer group. It will be released here in the next several weeks to the entire user base with Travify. So that's why you're not seeing it in your account quite yet.
Yep. And I apologize for just blazing through all that and being like, look at this. And then you don't have it. That was mean of me. So that I'm in our little Trailblazer group. So that's why I have it here. But yeah, that is going to be really, really big. And again, one of the top feature requests that we were getting. A couple of the other things though that were coming in. So the adding the image, like logos, and text in the forms that you saw, that was another thing that we just released. The other thing that you saw was where all the questions are on one page in the form. That is another thing that we just released. The other thing that is a little bit different but it still all works together with contacts and forms is we also release trip feedback requests. So this is really cool because this will go out after a client's trip, and you can choose to turn this on or off. So make sure that you're aware of that so that way you can turn it off if you don't need it. It's really easy to do. You just turn it off right on here. So just literally go ahead and just say off. And then what's cool about that though, let me go back in there, is they'll be able to, rate the trip, give you your reviews, anything you need in there. And then you'll be able to access that from your contacts as well. So that is another thing that just went in there. So really cool stuff. Okay, so I know we have 2 minutes, but Scott, is there any burning question that I should definitely answer in these 2 minutes?
Oh, there's so many.
I know. I'm so
We're not
sorry,
going to get
everybody.
to them all. No, so seriously, Stephanie and I try as hard as we can to get to so many. The cool thing is you guys have really good, like pro tip, pro level questions that aren't like a 1 or 2 word answer in there. And so I apologize that I'm not fast enough to get to all of them. If you have further questions that are pretty in depth, go ahead, go to our support center, reach out via live chat, or schedule a customer training session
Hmm.
from the support center, and they can go through those in detail with you. The support team's awesome. They're really, really helpful. One quick question that a few different people ask: can you export your contacts?
Oh, yes. Exporting them. So there is not a way currently to export them. My
But coming soon.
Yes,
Coming
coming soon,
soon.
because that's why I was like, I don't see the option, but I feel like we've talked about it. But
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so on your forms responses, so when clients respond to forms, you can actually go into the form response window and you will see an export
Hmm.
option. You can take responses to forms and export a spreadsheet of all of that information. So a few of you asked about, well, hey, can I take this information and import it to my host agency CRM? Yes, you can export out forms responses and do that way. Now, also coming down the road in the future, we'll add an option so that you can export all of your contacts from Travify to be able to then keep in sync or keep a backup copy, that type of thing. So that's coming down the road.
Hmm. Yeah, and one thing I forgot to mention too is, so when you're in a form and you click those that little box with the three dots there, that's where you can export your answers. You can also copy forms, so you can also kind of build your own templates that way too. So you can always copy, which is really great. And the last thing that I'll mention here is, Scott mentioned about the support center. Highly recommend that. We have so much in there. But the other thing too, though, is if you aren't a Travify user currently, you can just go to travify.com, do a 10-day free trial, and during that time, highly recommend coming to the support center, checking out all of the videos, get on a weekly webinar, schedule a demo with our team. We have so many resources available completely free to you, so definitely utilize all that. And then someone had asked also on pricing, so this is, always forget to go through this, but probably one of the most important questions is, how much does it cost? And we go on a subscription, so you can subscribe annually or monthly. And again, that includes all of the features. So everything you saw here today, plus many more that we did not touch on. But you can go monthly for $39 a month or annually for $31 a month. And so you save 20%, which is really great. And that's all in USD. But it's really amazing. It's pretty, if you ask me, pretty good deal for all of the stuff that you get, which is really cool. Um, but that is it. And apologies again for not getting all the questions. I always think that these are not going to go as long, and we're going to have all this time for questions. And then here we are, always there's just
Mhm.
so much stuff to go through. It's exciting.
We actually had way more to cover in this webinar than I thought we would. So this was
Same.
fun. So
Yeah. Yes, there's a lot. So definitely, again, reach out to us. We can answer those questions that we didn't get to, or if you want to learn more about something else, definitely let us know. But thank you so much again for your time. We always are extremely thankful that you're taking time out of your very busy schedule, because we know it's crazy right now. So just want to say thank you so much. And thank you again, Scott, for joining us. And we hope you have a great rest of your day.
have a great Tuesday or
Woo!
Wednesday
Or
if it's the
Wednesday.
future for you. So
Yeah, you're in the future. Thanks, everyone.
see you guys.